And without notice, licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 0186945 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, let me advise you, we will be looking out for Robert Mott. He's going to be checking in with us Wine Wednesday. And also, if you have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today like we do every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Today, National Beer Lovers Day. You gotta love National Beer Lovers Day. It didn't even dawn on me till it was too late to get some real beer lovers into the studio. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of most beers. I'm more of a fan of. I enjoy a great easy for me to say, great glass of wine. Great bottle of wine. Also, I would enjoy that today is National Salami Day. So we'll enjoy both of those. I know there are quite a few folks that listen to Ron Siegel Radio who are indulging in a great beer. They enjoy their beers. More power to you. Just not happen to be one of my things, but there are different boats for everyone. Moving to the markets today, Dow Jones down 35, almost 36 points. Oil up 55 cents a barrel. Gas holding about the same, $2.68.6 is the average here in the state of confusion. According to AAA, $2.19.2 is the national average. Not too bad after Labor Day. Not too shabby there. Mortgage rates, the 10-year Treasury is at 1.54, up ever so slightly today. Again, you add that 1.76 to get to what the historic number is on mortgage rates. Just a thought right there. Not too shabby on that number as well. We were chatting a little bit yesterday with some of the folks about where mortgage rates are heading, what is happening in the mortgage world. I'm going to suggest if you have not been out there, if you have not taken care of getting that new mortgage yet, you might be missing out just because we're trading in a range right now. It's really in a 60-day moving average range. We've tested the idea of bonds moving up a little bit. When the bonds move up, the rates move down. Hasn't really happened a whole lot yet, so haven't been able to break out of that range. So what's that mean for you? That means do as I've been sharing with a lot of people recently. The idea is go ahead and get locked. There is more risk to the upside than there is to the downside. There's more risk of rates going up than there is benefit to rates going down. And being that you have the benefit of all worlds, when rates go down, there's nothing that says that you can't take advantage of those once again if it makes sense for you and for your family. So my thought is if there's an opportunity for you, let's take a look at that. Let's see if we can make it happen. And give a call over to the team at Gold Star Mortgage. They're standing by, as always, ready to be of assistance. Speaking of being of assistance, don't forget we've got a couple of events coming up on Friday. 8th annual blood drive over at Hale Glass. If you want information on that, if you should have been hopefully you're on our mailing list. If you're on the mailing list, you got that information. There's a link right on the emails that went out to you. And also, they're going to, the good people at Hale Glass, the Taco Man's going to be there. So you give blood, they'll give you lunch. That'll be from 11:30 to 1. So enjoy that at Hale Glass. Again, that's coming up this week on Friday. And obviously, we did speak about this yesterday when we had the chief of Anaheim Fire and Rescue was in, and we were talking a little bit with him about the event coming up, the National Day of Service and Remembrance. That one coming up as well. Think about that one. If you haven't thought, maybe it's a good place for you to go with your family. National Day of Service and Remembrance, September 11th. You know, we don't want to let that ever get out of our mind, what happened that day, how many people were lost that day. City National Grove of Anaheim, 40 different charities will be there. I suggest, again, that one's another free event, 2 p.m. September 11th. Break away from those football games, get over there and see the great people. There's going to be the chief of the police for Anaheim will be speaking there. The chief of Anaheim Fire will be speaking there. Anaheim Fire and Rescue, he's going to be speaking there as well. So get over there and visit those great events that are both coming up in the community, supporting the community, supporting the events, supporting the people that support you. Anaheim Performing Arts Center, they've got a festival coming up at Fox Point Manor. That's September 17th. That's a family affair, 11 to 4. So I'm going to suggest you check out with that one as well. I'll be at all these different events. Hope you can come by and say hello and let me know what you're thinking, what items may be beneficial for us to chat about with you or for you, or get the experts into Ron Siegel Radio to chat with, so you'll have good information, maybe even great information. That's what we like to provide to you all the time on Ron Siegel Radio. Got a lot going on, and we've been just watching these different markets and what's happening. We're going to chat today, sabotaging your investments. We're going to get into that. There are a lot of folks that do that, sabotage their investments, and we've had, and we're going to have again, Al Manfrey on the program talking about ways you can get around that sabotage, ways that you will not sabotage your investments, because right now I'm sharing with everybody that I come in contact, and yes, I have been sharing this for a while. It's not like it's something new. I've seen this coming. Now, you could have lost a good amount of money if you had just sold your 401k, sold your IRAs, and been sitting on the sidelines, which would not be bad in some instances. But my suggestion here is be careful. How are you hedging? Are you the type of person that you don't mind roller coasters with your money? That's a big issue. If roller coasters, okay, they're all well and good, but are they the item that you want to deal with your money? And if that's not the case, if you don't have a tolerance for your money going up, your money going down, depending upon the whims of the stock market, the whims of the elite, who are really, and as Bernie puts it, maybe they rigged the stock market. Think about that concept. If you're not comfortable with that roller coaster of a stock market, there are alternatives. There are benefits that you can come up with that we can show you. I don't sell them. If you do it or don't do it, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. I'm just looking at it saying, you know something? Not everybody's geared to be a stock picker. We don't want you to get into the idea, the mindset, that just because the market's going up, that it's plain and simple and easy and anybody can do it, because that's not the case. There's a difference between being a great stock picker and a bull market, a market that's going up basically because the Federal Reserve is adding more money to it, going up because the Federal Reserve doubling or tripling their balance sheet, and the Treasury adding $10 trillion to their debt. That causes the market to go up on its own because there's so much money going into the market. Eventually, the fundamentals have to kick in. Are we making money? Are we hiring more people? Are we at full employment, full productivity? A lot of the numbers are saying that we're not doing those things, yet the market continues to rise. Protect yourself is all I'm saying. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, Robert Mott will be joining us. What effect does heat, car, leaving a bottle of wine in your car, what effect does it have on the wine? We'll talk about it. Is the current pace of home sales sustainable? Ways you could be sabotaging your investment portfolio, easy for me to say, and cause a financial stress in your state. Remember to reach us anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card volume into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple, and the cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text PAIR to 79564. One of the professionals will reach out to you to get you the true equity position of your property. Is the current pace of home sales sustainable? There are some experts questioning whether the current pace of residential home sales is sustainable. Are too many people buying homes like in 2004 through 2006? Are we headed for another housing crisis? Actually, if we look closely at the numbers, we can see that we are looking at a very healthy real estate market. So why the concern? Some are looking at the last 3 years of home sales, comparing them to the 3 years just prior to the housing bubble. People tend to get scared easily. And I'm going to post a graph on Ron Siegel Radio. You can kind of get an idea where existing home sales are not pushing those 2004, 2005 bubble numbers. Just a very plain and simple thing. The bottom line, and you can look at the numbers yourself, easy for me to say, but the current pace of residential home sales seems sustainable, and that is the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again, brought to you by the area-trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text PAIR to 79564.
Goes to my head, makes me forget that I still need her so.
Red wine means it is time for our Wednesday chat with Robert Mott. Good morning, Robert Mott. I got to turn your mic on here to make sure that we can hear you. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. How are you doing today, Ron?
I am doing wonderful. Glad to hear from you. We got some great information now that we're coming back into everyone getting back to the real world, I guess. The summer season is over, holidays are over, and it's time to drink some good wine, even though today is National Beer Lovers Day. So the question that I'm going to pose to you, Robert, is it's getting a little cooler. Are we safe leaving our wine in the car?
You know, it's one of those things that you'd be really surprised how warm a car gets very quickly. Think about whether you leave your child in the car or whether you leave your pets in the car. Just like that, it's a bad idea to leave your wine inside a hot car, even though it's getting cooler. And a lot of times people crack their windows thinking that will help too, even though it really doesn't help that much. If the temperature outside is 80 degrees Fahrenheit, for instance, as an example, the interior temperature of your car can soar well past 100 degrees in less than 30 minutes. And according to our friends over at the CDC, it can reach as high as 172 degrees inside your car. Basically, cars make great greenhouses, but they're really bad places to keep your wine for any period of time whatsoever. So, if you're out and about and maybe you're going shopping or maybe you're out in the wine country, visiting, you picked up a few bottles, certainly be careful. Even though it seems not that hot, 80 degrees doesn't seem all that hot, especially for us in Southern California. But even that, with your windows cracked and everything, the temperature can get way out of control in a hurry. Now, unfortunately, there aren't really any scientific studies that I'm aware of that present a formula for how long or how much heat that wine can take before it's really damaged. Basically, there's a lot of anecdotal stories about how some wines are fine, even though they've been exposed to high heats, and others were completely ruined. One thing I've seen as well is if you leave wine in the hot car, a lot of times the air and I'd say the air. It's most of the time it's some kind of inert gas or CO2 that may be on top of the wine there, but that little air gap will expand rapidly. And sometimes the corks can even be pushed out to a certain extent. I've seen them pushed like halfway out. Sometimes this can result in the bottle leaking some wine. But again, there's no real formula for this. If I would not recommend you expose your wine to this kind of experiment to see if you can figure out how long it takes to ruin a bottle. But I guess from my own personal experience, my method for this, when I've been dumb enough to do this myself, which I have, is cool the wine down, get it down to cellar temperature for a little while, and then pop that cork and enjoy it, because there's just no guarantees about the future of that wine, how long it's going to be hanging around with us.
Well, that's a good point, because sometimes you go to the store and you end up getting groceries, getting some wine, or go to the wine bar and get some wine, and you're heading back and you make another stop. Think it's just going to be a couple seconds. You run into somebody and all of a sudden you're chatting for a while, and there goes your wine. You got to really be careful. So I guess the two morals here: number one, be prepared, keep something cool for your wine, and obviously we don't want you to drink the wine while you're in the car, because that could cause other problems.
Exactly. And one thing I've done as well is that if you have a large ice chest or cooler, and you're going to be out and about like that, there's nothing wrong with putting your wines in a plastic bag or whatever, and then drop them in there with a little bit of ice or some of those cold packs in there, just to keep the temperature moderated as well. So it's a good tip to have that around. I know we've talked about going through the wine country and all the checklist of things that are useful in the past, but that's one thing I would also add in there too, is if you have a large ice chest or cooler with some of those cold bricks in it, it's another great way to make sure that your wine does not get overheated.
Interesting. Okay, so yesterday we spoke a little bit about a 92-year-old Phyllis Schlafly, the first lady of a political march, passed away over the weekend. We missed one, though, First Lady of Wine Country. What's that all about, Robert?
Yeah, of course, I don't think, I'm not sure if I've really heard anybody call her that before, but I would call her the First Lady of Napa. Margaret Mondavi passed away last Friday, September 2nd. She was, her husband was Robert Mondavi, and I think that all of us can probably give them both a lot of credit for making the U.S. wine industry what it is, in terms of how it's grown since the early 70s, especially the California wine industry. Certainly a lot of the wineries and winemakers owe their lineage or their background to Robert Mondavi. I mean, even Mike Gergich, that was one of the first places he worked when he came over from Croatia. And then, of course, the history has treated him very kindly in terms of his contribution as well. But certainly it was a sad day. Obviously Robert Mondavi died a few years ago, but Margaret was always kind of front and center promoting California wine and being a great ambassador for wine and Napa particularly. She did many things to make the current wine experience what it is, and in terms of when you visit a winery, what the tasting rooms look like, how things work there. She was one of the original tour guides actually at Robert Mondavi. That's kind of how she grew up in that part of this hospitality business, and she was one of the first people actually to understand the role of food and wine together, and put together programs to actually promote the pairing of food and wine. So. Yeah, she got to the Napa in the 1960s. She was born in Switzerland, I believe. But certainly she will be missed. Like I say, much of what we take for granted these days in terms of the experience of wine and the experience of the wine countries that we have here in California, much of that can be attributed to her and of course her husband as well. So we certainly. It was certainly not a great day, but we will certainly honor her memory, and would like to just give her a good thought and a shout out here, because certainly Margaret did a tremendous amount of work for us and also for her community as well. So a real saint.
Absolutely, a lot of good information. A lot of people really enjoy going to wine country. Speaking of wine country, I guess there is a bar room trivia question that maybe you can clear us up on. The second largest number of vineyard acres. Heck, I don't even know what the first largest is. So what's the first and the second, Robert?
I think I'm trying to remember what the first is. I think the first is Spain, I believe, but I could be wrong. Yeah, Spain, I think, is number one in the list. But number two is very surprising. I think it's one of those that as you, again, like you say, if you go into a wine bar and you challenge people on trivia, you might say, what are the last three of the original 8 red Bordeaux varietals, and you could stump people on that one. But this is one that I think will stump just as many people or more. Believe it or not, number 2 on the list is China. They have close to 2 million acres planted for wine grapes.
2 million acres.
Spain, I think Spain is like 2.9 million. So Spain's pretty far ahead still. But 2 million acres, and a lot of this is those grapes are going into bottles. I mean, they're making a lot of wine in China. Now, you always hear about counterfeit wines alike, but I think there actually is a wine industry in China that is trying to be very legitimate as well. I can't really speak to a lot of the Chinese wines, but they certainly have a large number of them and grow a lot of grapes. And like I say, it's a great trivia question you can stump your friends with, and maybe you can get them to buy you a glass of wine as a result of that.
It's pretty interesting when you think about that. While you were chatting there, Robert, I was Googling the information. By contrast, Napa Valley has 45,000 acres of vineyards planted.
Yes.
So, I mean, you talk about we're not even in the same neighborhood there.
No. I mean, in fact, even if you talk about U.S. wine production, Napa Valley is still a real minority producer in terms of the overall total production in the United States. But again, we like to believe there's really high quality stuff coming out there. Sometimes less is more.
There you go. Okay, we'll take that. Great information. Before I let you go, you got to give me an update because I didn't get out to the Coachella Valley over the weekend. I'm kind of bummed. Grand opening. How was it?
Oh, it was crazy. There was everybody we know around town was there at the grand opening of the Wine Emporium at right next to Old Town Coffee and Old Town La Quinta. It was a great event. Marcy and Aaron are doing a great job there. They've certainly they've stepped up and created a new place. I think people will really enjoy great wines. They really are doing a fabulous job there, and certainly I think it's going to become that place that kind of the equivalent of Cheers Bar, where it's a place you go to run into all the people you really want to run into. And it's well on the way. In fact, I was just there last night, and that's probably one of the reasons I sound maybe a little hoarse, too. I was probably there a little later than I should have been, but we'll leave that story for another day.
Well, and you know something? I'm glad you mentioned that because many people have said that my profile makes me look a lot like Norm, so maybe we can tie all that in together. We have to get out there and check. Maybe we can even do a live radio broadcast from there one day, Robert. That would be kind of fun.
That would be wonderful. It would be fabulous if we could do that, yeah.
Be a lot of fun. Great information, as always, from Robert Mott, checking in with the Wine Wednesday tips of the week. When we come back, we're going to talk about some ways you could be sabotaging your investment portfolio, cause of financial stress in your state. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. To reach us, call our off-air number at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter at Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million. 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal Housing Lender.
Are you ready to overcome your biggest blocks with money and time? Your solution, Big Profits Now World Summit. The best skills and strategies to double and triple your business profits without doubling or tripling the work. This summit has gathered 24 experts specializing in business growth. It's a free online event that's happening now. Go immediately to claim your free ticket at BigProfitsNowLive.com. Enter your name and email and receive these free video interviews directly to your inbox. Again, that's BigProfitsNowLive.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
37% of American homeowners believe they have over 20% equity in their homes. Fannie Mae tells us 69% of American homeowners have over 20% equity in their homes. Fully 1 in 3 American homeowners are not informed about the amount of equity they have in their homes. Are you one of them? How might this be holding you back from achieving your goals? Text RSR CMA to 79564 to get a property valuation from one of the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Again, to know how much your home is really worth, simply text RSR CMA to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. And as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage. You have a benefit or an opportunity right now looking at real estate. The summer's gone. I know technically we still have a few more days of summer left, but summer's basically gone. So if you're looking for that new house, if you didn't take care of restructuring your home loan, our friends at Gold Star Mortgage, they have the programs that make sense for you and for your family. Program today some ways you could be sabotaging your investment portfolio. I started chatting with you earlier in the broadcast today about your portfolio and what people tend to do with their portfolios. And I know in most instances, the largest portion of your investment portfolio is going to be in your 401k and your IRA. Now, those different programs right there, they're generally going into mutual funds. And many, many people look at mutual funds, and they look at their 10-year history of the mutual funds. They go on to Morningstar, great service online, to get the ratings of the mutual funds, and they figure out, okay, that's where I'm going to put my money. Next year they go and they look and they say, okay, this fund did well, I'll put more money into that fund. And that is the biggest reason sabotaging your investment portfolio. The biggest sabotage of your portfolio is going and doing just that item right there. You look at it and you say, this did well last year, I'll put money in there. That is the out of favor investment class for next year. If you were to get a hold, go to Morningstar and ask for a scattergram, or look for a scattergram on there. And it basically will show you what over the last 10 to 20 years the different investment categories have done. And it's going to put in there large cap growth, small cap growth, mid growth, small, medium, and large income sectors. It'll put in there foreign. It'll put in there domestic. It'll put bond portfolios. It'll do all these different investment classes. And you'll notice that very rarely is last year's winner the same as this year's winner. It might, in fact, even be that last year's loser becomes this year's winner. Yet, as consumers, as retail investors, many people don't understand that. So what they end up doing is they're going and investing in last year's winner. And they don't do as well. They find that they're underperforming the category and they underperform the market. They would have been better off having just put their money into an IUL, an insurance vehicle. Or they could have gone into an ETF, an exchange-traded fund, and done just as well or better. So why is it that we do that? Well, most of the time it is that people don't spend enough time studying. They think that they're a great stock picker or a market picker simply because they look at their portfolio. Some don't even ever look at it. They say, okay, this is how I want my money invested as I contribute. And they don't ever look at it for 20 years and wonder, why didn't it grow as much as I thought it might have? These are the reasons why. Basically, they look at it and say, something, I can do all of this stuff. It's no better than flipping a coin. I can do all this stuff just as well as the professionals do. Or because my company's HR director made this available to us, it must be the best programs out there. Well, I suggest that many HR directors, while they're great individuals, they understand human resources, maybe they're not the expert in the financial markets. They got their degree, if they have one, in being great at taking care of human resources, understanding those laws. But those laws are not necessarily going to be the same as what you need to know about being a financial advisor. Yet we don't end up spending the money to hire a financial advisor. So what are the alternatives? Well, we're going to talk in depth about that Friday, especially when Al Manfrey comes in here. He's got a great program. He also shares with us and with our listeners that his company will do a trust for you. They'll set up a will, trust, powers of attorney, all that good stuff that you and your family need. Listeners of Ron Siegel Radio get a $300 discount. They generally charge $1,200 to do a trust, and it's an amazing document, or it's an amazing book that they provide you. It's actually like a 4-inch 3-ring binder that they provide as the finished product. And most attorneys are charging $3,000 for something like this. They charge $1,200, and then if you go to mbelinks.com, mbelinks.com/gift bag, no spaces in there, mbelinks.com/gift bag, you can get a coupon for $300 off just by being a listener of Ron Siegel Radio. But what I wanted to get to with there also is Alan and his team have a program where you can get either an insurance policy or an annuity for those that don't qualify for the insurance policies. And you can get these different programs, and they end up being better for you, and they protect you. That's the beauty of where I was heading with all this. They protect you from the downside risk of the stock market. Now, think about this concept. Who owns the biggest buildings in nearly every major city in America? Right. The top 3 are going to be the U.S. government, the Catholic Church, and insurance companies. The insurance companies own that because they collect premiums. Many times the premiums end up for something that is not needed. A premium is nothing more than selling somebody else your risk. That's what insurance is the insurance company buys your risk for a fee. Now, if that risk doesn't come to pass, they make money. Yeah, they make a lot of money. And that's why you end up seeing the biggest buildings in almost every city are owned by the insurance companies. Pretty plain, pretty simple. Now, when the insurance companies have their funds available because they charge a premium and hope not to have to pay out the policy amount, but when they do, what are they doing? Or when they've got that money, what are they doing with it? They're investing it. They've got a bunch of great individuals that look at what the best investments are around the country, around the world, and that's where they put their money. Well, when you go and get into these insurance policies or annuities that are available, and you can do those with a 401k, with an IRA, you got to talk to Al. He understands that. I don't sell them. So don't think that I'm trying to share all this information with you because I sell the products. No, I don't. I have no financial benefit whatsoever whether you buy the products or don't buy the products. What I'm saying is, there are better ways, there are tax-advantaged ways of investing in these different programs, these different products, so that you don't have to worry about whether the stock market goes up or goes down. The insurance company says, we'll give you an insurance policy, we'll protect you against any loss. Then they reset at the end of the year, and if they make money in the investments throughout the year, you participate in that money. Do they charge a fee for it? Absolutely. Who cares? What's important is, what do you get? What is your return on your investment? And historically, those numbers are pretty good. That's why we talk about them on a regular basis, so that you understand, hey, maybe you want to take your money, when you move companies, you're going to take your money out of that 401k, maybe move it into one of these insurance vehicles. Then you have more access to it. You can borrow against it. You don't have the tax ramifications of the growth within these vehicles. Maybe you got to talk to a tax person to see if you take the money out of the 401k or the IRA, what those tax ramifications may be. But there's a lot of benefits that you could be looking at. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, cause of financial stress. We're going to chat about it, and we're going to answer some of your questions that come in on a regular basis. We'll talk about that as well. To reach us anytime, call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. You can catch the replay, though, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Isn't it time you found out the truth about FHA-insured home equity conversion? No, it's not your grandfather's reverse mortgage. This just may be the finest financial planning strategy available for all homeowners of retirement age. Helping protect what you've earned is the job of your board of directors with continued education. Major research has shown that using a HECM will significantly enhance the success rate of a retiree's portfolio and legacy. Please allow us to educate. For your complimentary consultation, call Jay Kaplan at 949-300-3855. That's 949-300-3855.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRE NMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report? It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you. Cause of financial stress. It's an interesting study that was done by Go Banking Rates, a personal finance website. They surveyed 7,000 people, 50 states, and D.C. found that paying off debt was the main financial stressor for 32 states, including right here in California, the state of confusion. Second most common answer, not having enough money to fund an emergency fund. That was the second most common. So why would that be when we've chatted many, many times? There are right ways and wrong ways of paying off debt. But the first thing you do in any of the situations or any of these instances is set a plan. Develop a budget and make a plan for how you're going to pay off the debt. And you have to understand what your end goal is as well. If you're paying off debt because you're saying, something, I just don't want the debt any longer, well, that's fine. That's not a problem at all. But then there are those individuals that have a need. They're doing something specific, and that's the purpose of why we're looking to pay off that debt. Maybe it's to buy a car. Maybe it's to buy a house. Well, your plan for paying off debt should be different in each of those instances. If it's just to pay off the debt because you don't want it anymore, that's one plan. The next set or the next objective is, why are you looking to pay it off? And if it's because for a goal such as buying a house, buying a car, something of those that need, then you want to be doing something different. Here's the difference. The first scenario, just getting it paid off because you don't want it anymore. All you're going to do there is look at what are your highest interest rate obligations and pay those down. You make all your minimum payments, and then whatever's left in the budget for paying off debt goes to that highest interest rate obligation. Once you get that one cleared, you reallocate that money, those funds, to the next highest item and just keep plucking them out one at a time. Now, I'm going to suggest to you, for the benefit of your FICO scores, keep using that card. Even though you paid off that high interest rate obligation, use it to buy a cup of coffee, to buy a tank of gas, and pay it off immediately. The beauty of that is that then you keep that card active. It's got a zero balance, and you've got a activity, and it's got a history, and it's aging, and the card's getting older and older in your portfolio of cards, of debts, and you're going to help your FICO score. Now remember, I did tell you this before, pay it off right before the statement closing date, so that way when it reports, it shows a zero balance, but it's still showing as active on your credit report. Now, If you are looking to buy a house, to buy a car, and that's the reason that you're paying off debt, now you want to start paying off your debt based on getting your debt utilization rates in line. Debt utilization is looking at the balance of your debt and comparing that to the credit limit of that debt. So if you've got a $10,000 credit card, and I'm just using round numbers, it works if it's $1,000 as well. But say you've got a $10,000 card and you owe $8,000 on it, your utilization is 80%. Well, what we want to do is figure out how do we get that down a little bit lower on all your cards. So look at each card, create a spreadsheet, and look at the percentages of all your cards. First step, we want to get them all to below 70%. So you pay them accordingly, proportionate, but remember you're going to pay every one of them. You're not worried about which has the highest interest rate. It's just pay them all down 70%. Next step, go to 50%. And then you want to go to 30%. And ideally, you want to keep your cards at 10% utilization based on the end of the month. Just the way it makes life easiest for you. That's going to get you your best FICO score benefits. Now, when you're looking at this, the difference here is huge. I was just looking at a listener's files just yesterday, and the difference he's looking at, because he's got one challenge on his report, one item on his report is costing him several percentage points in interest just because of that. There are those folks, I had somebody else we talked to last week that they had a 670 FICO score, a 677 FICO score, and they're looking at buying a new house, and it took their credit report, the difference between 677 and 680 went from 4.625 to 4.125. Costs them a lot of money because of that difference. So you have to understand what is the goal that you're looking at, the objective that you've got in mind when you're looking at paying off debt, just the way it works out for you. That is the Word on Wealth segment today, again brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. They'll also, a Credit Sanitizer, they'll also help you with the errors that are on your report. Every report has errors. I've yet to see a report that I didn't identify some credit scoring errors on there. Just the way they all seem to be. So with that being said, my suggestion is get a hold of Credit Sanitizer. Top two buttons on the top row, top two on the left. You've either got the annual process or the monthly process. Get a hold of them. Again, they'll help you out. They'll look forward to being of service to you. Some questions that come in. I get questions all the time. One of the questions that comes in is, hey, Ron, why are you so adamant that we not go to the big bank on the corner? Very, very simple. Very good people there. But remember one thing about the big bank on the corner. They have one product to offer you. Theirs. Walk into the Stagecoach and ask them what the Blue Boys are doing. They don't know because they're just getting the information on their programs, their products. If you don't qualify for their programs, their products, they just tell you you're not qualified. Now, they get paid a salary, and then they get paid a bonus based on the loans that they close, the amount of loans that they close, the amount of dollars. Going to a mortgage banker, they're checking all of these different institutions, and they don't make any money at all unless you close your loans. Very, very simple. You don't close a loan, they don't get paid. You close a loan, the cash register rings. I think I got that right over here. So what is the difference in that? What does that mean to you? Well, they're going to be out shopping for you. I suggest that in many instances, they're going to work just like a personal shopper. Right? There you go. Okay, I knew we had the cash register here somewhere. They're going to work like a personal shopper for you. They're going to look at what all of the major institutions do. They look at the Blue Boys. They look at the Stagecoach. They look at all of them. And they get wholesale rates. You're getting retail rates. When you walk into the bank, you're getting quoted retail rates. A mortgage banker is working off of wholesale rates. So they're going to get a little better rate so that they can offer it to you at or better rates than what you're going to get when you walk into the brick and mortar institution. But they're also going to do one thing more, or many things more. Number one, if their understanding of the way credit reports work. They've got a lot of experience in it, because if they don't get your loan closed, they don't get to eat. Very, very simple. They may have institutions that they can go to that the guidelines are different than what the brick and mortar, the banks on the corner, offer. Banks on the corner, everybody does the same thing. Everybody starts with the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines, maybe the Ginnie Mae guidelines. They all start in the same place, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA guidelines. Then what they do is they say either they're going to do nothing, no overlays, no additional restrictions, or they might have what's called overlays, additional restrictions above and beyond. Those additional restrictions above and beyond, they're called overlays. Now, if you go into one institution, into a bank on the corner, they may not know that another company, and maybe another insurance company, has the same program, but they're not putting any overlays on there, so it's easier to get a loan there. Your mortgage banker, your personal shopper, that's their job. If they do their job right, they know who wants which product. Now, today, maybe Wells Fargo wants a 30-year fixed-rate conventional, but maybe Chase is looking for a jumbo, and I'm not saying that that's what any of them are doing. But they have different programs that they're looking for in any given day. And they price the products aggressively or prohibitively accordingly. That's why Chase was able to go from being the number one FHA provider, and overnight they went to being a non-participant, so to speak, in FHA loans. They priced themselves out of the market or in the market, whichever it is that they want. Just the way these all work. Just a question answering that for you. Ron's question comes in. If you have any questions, always send them to me. Ron at RonSiegelRadio.com. And be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.